Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. For most of you, you're not new here, so make sure you click that like and subscribe button and all that kind of good stuff, and make sure you get notifications from us whenever we upload new stuff. Today's episode is part of our ongoing Outspoken Men's Edition.
Yes.
And we're going to go over some things about being friends, something that Joe and I are not.
Clearly.
Yeah, he's my brother more than my friend, but
Yeah.
I guess we started off as friends back in the day.
Yeah. Back in the day, we were white friends. We were just white friends.
We were white friends. Well, also today is election day, so if you have not, you need to get out there and vote. Today is November 5th. If you were, if you didn't know, and now you know. So get out there and vote and make your voice heard.
And that we don't care who you vote for. We're not trying to influence you in any way, but, do the right thing. That's all I'm saying. Do the right thing, folks.
Well, let's get this.
I voted early, so just FYI.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get to deal with the masses out there.
Right. No. Nope. It's all in the bag. So let's get into this, Joe.
All right, so we're going to talk about the importance of friends, and as it relates to men, it is significantly important. Okay, men by nature, we're not as relational as women, as you know, right? Men's friendships are often centered on activities, sports teams, things of that nature, whereas women's are focused on sharing. And they share about, oh my God, guess what happened to me, and blah blah blah, which is perfectly fine, but that's just how that's the nature of things, right? Men are less likely than women to express their emotions or their weaknesses. And so today we're going to speak about the dread of being accused of deviant conduct because of an evident strong connection with another man. So like you and I have taken cruises, and how would that look in a normal person's view nowadays? They'd be looking like, oh, they must be a gay couple, right? or just us hanging out all the time. And
Opportunists.
Thank you. I like the term opportunist is a little bit better versus gay, strong, very direct, and I feel like it's just dry. Nah, you know what I mean? But there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a strong connection to another man. We're also going to discuss the illusion perpetrated by films about heroic loners, right? That real guys don't need other people; they're good alone. And I mean, it's just iconic. You know, Rambo and Predator, Conan the Barbarian. Everything is just hey, it's just me. I don't need anybody else, and blah blah blah. But we're gonna go deeper than that. We're gonna talk about how just values have changed, and how the American life cycle and everything has changed around us and transitioned to reflect a more modern values of like individualism, of isolation and privatization. And you and I have talked in the past about COVID and what it did to a lot of people as far as isolating them from the world. So if you just look around today, back in the days, you were able to look at a house, any architecture, right? You studied architecture, so you're able to look at a house and say, okay, there's the front door, right? You had these nice porches. People used to hang out in the front porch, smoking, right? Because that was the thing back in the day. Drinking coffee. Right. Your kids were playing out in the front lawn. That was your home. You were almost forced, as you're walking down the sidewalk, to interact with your neighbors, to talk to them like, hey, what's going on, Bob? And I just used Bob because there was no Jose's in your typical neighborhood back then. But anyway, you had you talk to your neighbors. I don't want to say you're forced, because it almost seems like you don't want to, but it's like you're put in a situation where you engage with other people, you communicate, you talk. It's not just your little isolated world, right? Nowadays, what has changed about that? Now the homes, the front door is a little bit more hidden, right? It's deeper in, like a lot of these homes, right?
Yeah,
you have like a little vestibule, or you have, there's a little.
Ooh, that's a big word.
Thank you. I've been reading the thesaurus, the 2024 edition. But you have different things. But here's the thing, and I want you to take note, because you and I both have done it, and I do it all the time. When you get home, do you park right outside and walk to your front door, or what do you do?
I open the garage door 2 house lengths away from my house. By the time I'm backing into the driveway, the door is fully open. I back in, and as soon as I put it in park, I'm lowering the garage door.
Right. So now we're not engaging people anymore, right?
That's right.
So now we don't have a front door. I mean, we have it. We don't use it. We go through the garage, right? We just go in. We think they're building homes now to have smaller living and dining rooms, right? Because people are not entertaining anymore. People are not bringing their friends over to entertain or family.
Right.
Everyone's just so isolated away from each other, and that's really very impactful. Where before, what were you doing? Where were you hanging? I remember as a kid, we were hanging out in the living room or in the kitchen,
Right.
And that's where we were, and for like Easter or for Thanksgiving, Christmas, we were always in the living room playing games, singing, do whatever we want, you know what I mean? And then when it's time to eat, we're all in the kitchen or we're all in the dining room, and in between we'd be running to the kitchen, moms and grandmas and aunties be yelling at you, get out of the kitchen, you're running out with a tamal or something, you're like, I got one, and you're just doing different things. Everyone's interacting. We don't have that anymore. Families are smaller, right? Families are like before it was like a family of 5, you have at least 3 kids, mom and dad, a dog, maybe a cat if you like cats. Nowadays, you have a lot of single kids, like just I'm a loner kid, you know what I mean? Like they have one child or they don't. So as a society as a whole, we've been transitioning from those interactions, those relational relationships into more isolation, more privatization of ourselves, that saying your home is your castle is becoming true. You have walls up, you have a fort, you have a moat, everything's like now you got nowhere to go. You know that the average American moves about 11 times, all right, in general, right? That's just a figure that I pulled out of the air. Actually, I did it. So
I did that in like a 3 or 4 year span.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? People move.
Right.
You would expect that in within those cycles, those life cycles, that you're making friendships, you're making bonds, but you're not. What happens when we got out of high school? How many people have you connected with or you still talk to, or slim to none, right? I think all my friends from high school are on my social media platforms. That's it.
Right.
Like we don't interact, we don't hang out. I've never gone to a high school reunion.
Me either.
And not that I don't want to, but man, life kind of gets in the way. You're busy.
Yeah.
We'd
be like Romy and Michelle going back to back to it. We'd have to show up and would that one guy come in like a helicopter or whatever?
Oh yeah.
We'd have to come up with something that we invented, like I don't know, glue sticks or something. They invented Post-it notes.
We invented luminescent condoms. Anyway, so
we invented the My Pillow.
There you
Forget
go.
about that guy on the TV. It was us.
It was us. It was kind of like Milli Vanilli. We were too ugly to put our picture out there, so we used him. You know what I mean?
They used the nice old guy.
The nice old guy.
So everybody hates now. So
yeah, like why? Because So we have these life cycles and these challenges, right? Everyone's in search of that elusive something. Like men are always missing something. Women are always like, I really just want this, and we're always, we lack roots, we lack consistency, we lack community. All those things are just going away because of society and how we're creating these barriers around us. So friendships, especially profound ones, are struggling. They really are. People don't have that anymore, and it's really sad to see, Jay, because everyone needs to have somebody, and you could always tell when you have a real profound relationship because you're only surrounded by no more than 2 people, maybe. That
That's
are constant in your life.
Yeah.
And that. Those people are like, this is a true friend. I mean, this is all I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here's the thing. Most people would feel like lonely, like we got 2 friends or 1 friend. Actually, to me, it's so like it's a relief to me to know that I don't have to keep up with these friendship cycles and all these people and their dramas and their I'll call you someday or don't call we don't got time for that. You have 1 or 2 deep rooted friendships. You maintain that. It's easy to maintain. You value that because they've been with you. So men are not, like I said, men are not by nature relational like women are. So they view friendships more as an acquaintance, right?
Right.
And that's men. We're like, no, he's cool. He's a homie. That to a homie, slang for he's just someone I know, right?
Yeah, right.
And And they're formed along, life's journey. So on high school friends, if you worked at a place for years, that's your homie. That's your buddy. But you don't share dark, deep secrets. You don't say, hey man, I'm really going through some stuff today. Or, you don't.
Oh, heck no.
Right. You
Especially
don't.
as guys, we don't do that kind of stuff.
No. So you remember in the Bible in Genesis, right? God said it's not good that man should be alone. Right.
Correct.
And I will make him a helper fit for him. So of course that's the basic, was it ontological assertion regarding the nature of man, which is in a relationship to a woman, right? But it also acknowledges that we have this direct connection to someone else. Like we have to connect to somebody. Like we can't be alone, right? Clearly there was a reason why Eve was created. It was not just for that relationship, that human nature of needing somebody, but we needed to multiply, right? We needed to
procreate.
Yes. And so men can't do that. Many men attempt to do that. That's against God's will, right? But anyway, the point is that yes, that was Eve, but it also speaks to the connection that we need somebody. We can't be alone, right? And in our faith, we know that we're not alone because we walk with Christ. So we know that we're not alone in that sense, right? We could always take our problems to him, and we should be giving him our problems. But you always need that person here that you could talk to and relate to, right?
Yeah,
keep you
absolutely
guided, keep you on the right path, keep you focused, whether it's religious, whether it's work related, whether it's just life in general. You need that person that's going to keep you focused on what's important. Or, what happens when, for example, you and I, we've been friends for a very long time. We've seen women in our lives come in and out. And it wasn't until recent that we felt that need to say, hey, bro, we need to start talking to each other about some of the decisions we make and some of these people that we hook up with, because that's important, right?
Yeah.
No one ever prepares you for those things, right? It's like an investment. You don't just invest in something blindly. You research it. You ask your financial advisor or your bankers or what. You ask them, hey man, you know about this. Is this like a good investment or not?
Yeah.
So why shouldn't we do the same with friendships, with deep-rooted friendships? Why shouldn't we do the same and seek guidance from those friends? And I think that's where we lack as men. I think we have this stereotypical view that men are weak if they ask for help. Men are weak if they break down. Men are weak if they say, I can't do this. Men are, there's this stigmata of things that are associated with men and emotions that we have completely just lost the emotions. So one of the things that men say is that just people don't care, right? Like my wife doesn't want to hear my grief. She doesn't want to hear, man, I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill this month. No, she doesn't want to hear that because you're going to stress her out and then it's going to be worse on you. So you can't share that information. But you can go to a friend and like, hey, bro, it's just, I don't know what I had to pay this and this. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes even like if you have a friend that has businesses, do you have a job I could work at, or maybe I could, part-time or something, friends usually don't like to ask direct, like, give me something. They'll work for it. They'll do something for it.
Can I borrow $1,000 to pay my, my mortgage? I don't know who's got $1,000 mortgage anymore, but
yeah. But it's just things like that. So I want to take this time right now and talk about a beautiful friendship, a great friendship, and it's a biblical friendship, right? It was a manly man, he was a man of men, Jonathan, which is the son of King Saul. Mm. So Jonathan was very optimistic about
Good
Israel,
story.
Which was experiencing dark times, right? Unlike King Saul, Jonathan had single-handedly attacked and conquered the Philistines. King Saul also, King Saul, he sinned, right? And he sent Israel into this dark days, right? Very dark. And then, so this is where David, right? The little shepherd boy, we all know who ended up being King David. The little shepherd boy appeared, right? And he delivered Israel from the Philistines by killing who?
Goliath.
By killing Goliath, right? So after the death of Goliath, what followed was the birth of a deep male friendship, right? One of the most revered friendships in all literature, to be honest. The friendship was beyond your typical one, for one that was connected spiritually, right? And it was deep rooted. Like, we've been talking about the very deep rooted relationship. It wasn't based on like, oh, he likes, to kill people with slings and rocks and stuff like that, or he likes to just kill people in general. I'm a fighter. He's a warrior, blah, blah. It was a spiritual connection. It was something that was bound by something more than just tangible things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it actually said in first Samuel, right, 18:1, where it says Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself.
Yeah, exactly. So so friendships share the same world view and approach to life, right? Doesn't mean they think alike, but they share the worldwide view, right? Of general, like you and I, we share one view. We might disagree on different things, right? Like, what's more powerful, a 40 or a 45, or, a 9mm versus, but we agree on the fact that Jesus Christ died on the cross, resurrected 3 days, and
Right.
ascended to heaven. And we know that He is the reason that we're able to have an intimate relationship with God. So bound friendships, right? Now, this is something we're talking about. Jonathan and David, they ascend to the same authority, right?
Right.
They know the same God. They long for the same things, right? They dream mutual dreams. Not saying that there's the same dreams they're sharing, but in other words, they dream mutual things. They like to worship God, to be perfect in God's eyes. They dream mutual dreams. They yearn for the same experiences of holiness and worship, right? So these are the things that, again, they might differ in different stuff, but they find equality, or they share this view of this single spiritual nature that connects them, and it's a deep connection, as the story. So if you read that, it tells you, right? So friendships are like, there, simply put, is my life for your life, right? It is basically what it is. So it's a deep male friendship desire to make the other person royalty. So there was a time where men were kingmakers. You know what that means, Jay? That means that we revered other men, that we made men shine. We for example, you and I, in our friendship, I would push you to rise to the top, to be as best as you can in whatever you do, and succeed, and help you succeed that. And in achieving that makes me happy, right?
Right.
And that's what people call a kingmaker. Men were kingmakers. It would, it transcended in centuries where, you had the knights. The knights were the makers of kings, because they fought for their country, and they protected them, and they conquered, and blah, blah. And they made kings out of those soldiers, made kings. So we are kingmakers. But times have changed. Times have gone away to where now we there's so many people out there that are jealous of their friends, that betray their friends, that backstab their friends. All that is gone. And it's very sad, because you don't have that deep rooted connection again. So you, as a man, as a kingmaker, you work for and rejoice in the other person's elevation and achievements. You want them to succeed, right?
Right.
And real friends, real men, they want their true friends to be successful, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things about the beautiful elements of the relationship of Jonathan and David was mutuality, right? There was love, there was commitment, there was loyalty, there was encouragement. They had it all together. It was all one, And even I don't have it, I don't remember, but there's a very, there, I think it's the lamentation of Jonathan or something.
Oh, okay.
Because Saul and Jonathan die up on the mountain, on the hill, and David is very saddened by this. It really breaks his heart. And even though Saul did not like David, he still prayed for him. He lamented for him, and like, because of his friend Jonathan, and
correct. Yeah.
I wish I had it, but I don't. But it's very sad, but it was really good. To me, it's an important friendship. It was a deep rooted friendship, ones that you don't have anymore, that you don't find here in society, because again, men fear that repercussion from other men or from society. They're like, oh, look at those two gay dudes, right? Because they have a deep bond, a relationship with each other that doesn't seem normal. But who sets normality in a friendship? Like, who sets the standards? You know, you have to kind of stand back and say, like, wait a minute, do I really care what society says or what comes from them? Like, this is me. I'm successful because of my friend. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we've gone away from that, and it's just sad. Let me tell you another very very beautiful story. And everyone knows Helen Keller, right? She was a blind deaf
Yep.
American author, an activist, and a educator, I believe.
That is
Pardon
correct.
my coffee drinking. So when she was like 7 years old, she used to go into these destructive rages, right? And she just had like animal sounds. That's all she uttered.
Right.
You know, back then, what did people know about trying to deal with the deaf and the blind? It was very difficult. People
Right.
didn't know how to.
Sometimes they would actually lock them away.
Right, exactly.
They would hide them in their homes. Yeah, shamed of them.
Shame. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
they called them. There was a word for it.
For
disappointment rooms is what they would.
really,
they would actually create special rooms a lot of times that, that they would physically lock them away.
my mom told me that was the special room. Interesting. Anyway, she never mentioned the disappointment part.
You lied to me.
She lied. So here comes a young lady, 21-year-old tutor by the name of Anne Sullivan. Okay. Remember, Helen Keller 7 at that time. And here comes Anne Sullivan. So for weeks, Anne has been trying to break through to Helen, trying to figure out how she could teach her to read, to talk, to communicate, right? And it finally came in April of 1887. This is through a book that Helen Keller wrote. She says that on April 5th of 1887, that breakthrough came through. So Helen goes on to talk about that she was holding a mug. Helen was holding a mug under a spout, right? Well, and because back then you didn't have running water, you had a little pump,
Right.
Well,
Anne
was
pump.
Yeah, she was pumping the water into it, right? And using her hand, she repeatedly spelled water, and Helen finally understood. So she kept writing it like on her hand. Finally, Helen understood, and boom, there was a breakthrough. Anne knew right away, this is how I'm going to teach her. This is how she's going to learn, right? So Anne gave almost her entire life to Helen. Dedicated friend, right? Now, was there an age gap? Yeah. But as she got older, she was by her side. She was dedicated to her. Like, she wanted her to succeed. Kind of like what we were talking about, Jonathan and David, the kingmakers. We wanted to make her succeed in life, give her that opportunity. So in her dedication to Helen, by 10, Helen was already writing in French. Ultimately, she mastered 5 languages. 5.
I know, that's so crazy when you think about it.
Being blind and deaf, bro. Could you imagine?
I can barely master the
English.
single language I know.
Yeah. I know. So Anne was so devoted to Helen that she went to Radcliffe with her, sat next to her during lectures, and actually spelled out the lecture in her hand.
Yeah.
And that's how she did it. She encouraged Helen and worked hard to make her a queen, bro, to make her successful. And she did that. Yeah. Where do you find friendships like that anymore? Like, where?
That's tough. I mean, and you think about this, to put it into perspective, Helen Keller graduated in 1904. So when you think about the time frame and how life in general was more difficult, right? Everything, like you said, just procuring water was something that was tougher to do, right? Nowadays, what do we worry about? And I was talking to somebody today about this. What are the things that we worry about in modern life? Well, that so-and-so at work is doing something dumb that I don't like. And I broke a nail today and I had a flat tire yesterday. And man, you imagine it. There was a time when people didn't know where their next meal was coming from because dad had to go out and kill something out in the, out in the wild. And and like you say, we had to truck in water because there wasn't piped water and everything. So we're very spoiled now with everything. And
droughts in the Midwest when they had dust storms and people like were eating dust because that's what's in their house.
Yeah,
like those are real problems,
right?
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy, and we do as far as need, there's all this BFF, my best friend, all this kind of thing. You need somebody that is like we consider each other, we're family more than anything. We have no blood relation except for you go back far enough to Noah, but
but my kids know you.
Right.
You have my ex-wife's phone number. My kids have your number. Like you came to my house. We would barbecue together. Uncle Jay. Or White Boy Jay. It was White Boy Jay that one time. But it was
or bum. We're not going to go there.
Kiana, man. Anyway, yeah, bro. That's. I hope you're listening because that was horrible. You hurt his feelings.
Yeah, it's still right there.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, we're family. You're family, you and I.
Yeah. So you need somebody, and these are the two big words that, and Joe and I have really done this with each other, especially in all the biblical religious kind of thing. You need to keep each other grounded and accountable. Okay. Those are two really important words for everybody to remember. And it's not like you're judging one another on all these kind of things. It's helping one another. Cause like Joe was saying earlier, we've made a bunch of decisions throughout our life, some good, some not so good, some not so good more than others. And it would be nice. And we were talking, off camera, gosh, I don't know, a week ago or something like that, a couple weeks ago, that, hey man, it's going to be hard, but tell me if I do something really dumb, like hold my feet to the fire on it. Like don't wimp out and be like, oh, well, it's your decision, kind of thing. Actually get in there and say, hey, these are, and again, we all have to make our own decisions and everything, but it's really good to have somebody that will let you know that there are other choices.
Yeah.
Relationships are a great one because there's a great saying, love is blind, right? And you get into a relationship and you're blinded by the courtship period or by the honeymoon period, whatever you want to call it. And, we always think this one's going to be better or what have you. And maybe it will be. And, God willing, for anybody out there, that next relationship is the best and hopefully last one that you have to, go into. But sometimes we don't see everything at face value, and somebody else from the outside, especially somebody that knows you well, has an easier time deciphering those things because they're not blinded, by Cupid at that time. So,
yeah.
And one of the things, so, kind of still treading on the whole relationship thing. This is something I actually talked to somebody about a week ago on, and I thought this was really powerful. I saw this quote. I forget where I saw it at, and I thought it was so great. And this is a thing with relationships with men and women, but I think this kind of applies to your best friend relationships too, how important it is and how you don't go into it half-hearted, right? And you don't go into it lackluster in your love or your commitment to this person. So a woman should be willing to serve her husband. Now, I know I'm going to get all kinds of flack for this, but wait, there's more. A man should be willing to give his life for his wife. Okay, so a woman should be willing to serve her husband. A man should be willing to give his life for his wife. As a man, are you worth being served? And as a woman, are you worth dying for?
That's deep right there, brother.
Isn't it?
That's pretty deep.
I forget where I had seen it, heard it, or whatever.
But you have a point. You know what? It's a very important point that you bring up, and that is, and I think it goes to saying the value that, not the value that we have for ourselves, because we should already have some value because we were all created in the image of God. But I think it serves as what value do you bring into a relationship? Right.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't go into a friendship. Now, when I say relationship, I mean friends, whatever.
Anything,
it's all the same.
Right.
You shouldn't go into a relationship or friendship expecting things in return. You know,
100%.
One should go in there and give their all. You know, it doesn't mean go out there like, you know, buy diamond rings, buy golden bracelets, you know, but whatever you have, you give.
Right.
But when you do it in a way that you're not expecting nothing in return. All you're expecting is what you have already, and that's that person's attention, their friendship, their commitment to you, their honesty, you know, and that's it. And that's, you should expect nothing in return for any of these things, you know. And it's just like when you go out, you know, and you serve the community, you should do it because that's the right thing to do. And you shouldn't go out there just to, you know, think that you're making someone happy, and then you go on social media, look what I did, and you record it and try to get all that clout for it. That's the wrong way to do it. So the friendships that we are talking about, the ones that I think men need to start developing and nourishing each other for, is these deep-rooted spiritual relationships like Jay and I have, where we have a friendship, we have this bond where we, you know, we still mess around, dumb stuff that we're trying to curb. It's really hard, but
don't judge us.
Don't judge us. Now we're at a point in our life where there are certain things that are more important in our life than even ourselves. I mean, clearly, doing the right thing is serving a greater good is even better, you know, and being there for somebody and them knowing that you're there is very important in that person, even if they don't use you.
Right.
Just the fact that they know they can turn to you or call you, whatever, for whatever they need is sometimes all they need. And I'm a point. Yeah. I'm in the point of my life where, like, I need honesty, man. I don't need people like just to walk around or dance it, you know, like me and Jay were at that stage a long time ago. We just kind of like, hey man, if he's happy, I'm not going to say nothing. You know, it's his thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we kind of just kept our distance as far as personal things. Now we're in a point where, like, look, bro, we both made a lot of mistakes. We both did this. We both have this, and this. We need to start being frank with each other. You know what I mean? We need to, you know, because you know what we noticed? Like at the end of the day, we're like, well, bro, you know, when I saw that, I was like, man, that's probably not a good move. I'm like, now you tell me. Yeah. All of a sudden, I've done almost lost a leg.
Yeah,
been incarcerated.
$10,000 in the hole later, and here we are. Dang it!
So now we're like, okay, look, let's save us some money, some jail time, and some grief. Let's just be honest with each other. And if we see something that doesn't, you know, and here's the other thing that's important, I think. And Jay, correct me if I'm wrong. You should find a friend, a deep-rooted friend, someone from school, someone that you met at wherever, that share the same values, because that's key right there. The same values that you do, because that person is going to serve as your guide, your person from outside looking in, to where you start stepping outside those parameters, you start stepping outside those same beliefs. He's like, hey, bro, what are you doing? We can't be doing that no more, you know. But you have to have that courage to say, no, hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah, right.
You know, you can't sugarcoat things anymore. That's what men need. Men need to go back to where men were men and would tell them, you are screwing up, brother. You need to stop doing that. You know, you need to don't treat that person that way, or you need to not talk that way, or you need to not to react that way, or, you know, and if you're a genuine person with a good heart, you're going to receive that criticism and you're going to learn from it. You're not going to, now if you push them away and they're like, you know, stay out of my business, you ain't worthy of that friend. I'll tell you that right now. And you got problems and you need to figure them out, you know?
Yeah. Kind of backtracking on what you had said about, you know, doing stuff for people from your heart. So I have kind of like this little quote thing: doing something for someone or gifting them and expecting something in return is a transaction, right? So I give you a Christmas present and I'm like, so where's mine?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not a gift, right? And we have this wrong interpretation of these words. So you gift somebody something, if you do it from your heart, your only expectation is their happiness, not yours.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. Amen, brother.
So if somebody, I had it. So it's a perfect example. I had a girlfriend back in the day, and she would buy stuff all the time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But every time she would buy me something, the next day she was like, well, I bought you something yesterday. Why didn't you buy me anything today? You know? And these are all those red flag moments.
Yeah.
Right? They were popping up. It looked like, yeah.
Stop signs, red flags, everything was going off, bro.
Man.
Everything was going off.
Yeah. This was crazy. Looks like when the gardeners are putting all the little flags for all the different bushes and where the pipes are at and everything. They're just everywhere.
The sprinkler heads.
The sprinkler heads, yeah.
Huh. You're out there sipping your coffee like, that's a lot of flags.
That's a lot of flags. Yep. That was exactly what happened.
That's what I was thinking. But the reality of things, guys, and this is important, and women, you have to understand and you have to give that space. I mean, as a wife, you bring a lot to the table for your husband, or should be, and vice versa. But you're not always that person that he could go to. Going to you sometimes means breaking down barriers that he's built for years, and it might even make him feel weak. So he needs to have that male companionship, that male friendship. So don't disregard his male friends. Now, if they're a bunch of drunks and doing all kinds of crazy stuff,
yeah, that's a whole different
clearly not what we're talking about. But if he has this one true friend that he goes to, who's known him for years, and you see that they're always talking, it's not about other women, man. It's about things that he's probably going through, raising kids, going through life, and even if you were raised not too good in a family environment, it's harder for you to try to raise your own family that way when you don't have the experience of it. So they have to turn to things that are understanding. Yes, a lot of us turn to alcohol, to drugs, to just being wild, and that doesn't help us. That only adds to the problems that we're already dealing with. But that's because no one taught us how to deal with these problems. All we knew was like, suck them in, hold them tight, don't cry, be a man, blah blah blah. That's how you were raised. And
if you start crying when you were a kid, dad smack you in the head and be like, "Don't cry, you're a boy, you're a man."
Yeah,
you're not supposed to cry.
Yeah, and you held these feelings inside, and what happens? These feelings just build up, and at one point they're going to break. And what do? You sit in the garage, you're drinking your beer. You know what I mean? Smoking a cigar or doing whatever you need to do, or you're out there with a bunch of friends, right? You have like 15 friends out there. You guys are all partying. None of those are your friends. Let's be honest. Let's be true to ourselves. Those guys are just helping you temporarily forget about the issues you're going through. A true friend will sit you down and say, "Hey, bro, we need to stop drinking, because this is not helping us get anywhere. Clearly it's causing more problems than it's helping. Let's talk about what we need to do," and that's the kind of friendships you need to seek. I think you need people, and this is, I take it from us, man. You need to start cutting away, trimming the fat, like they say, right? Trim the fat. And you have to free yourself from these bonds of friends that only hold you down because they're in a place they don't want to be. And they're only holding other people down because, they're miserable. They want to have other people miserable around them.
They want to drag you into the pit with them.
So break those chains of bondage. Get away from that. Find that one true friend, a spiritual friend that you can connect spiritually with, a deep-rooted friendship that you guys share the same values. Know what's important. Prioritize your life. Know the importance of family. Know the importance of friendships, and differentiate that from your party times, from work, from all that things. Quiet your mind, man. Quiet your mind and find a deep-rooted friendship that, like Jay and I have. Like, I could call Jay no matter what time. If I'm having a crisis, I could call Jay at 3 a.m, and I know he'll answer the phone. And I know that hey, I'll be down there right now if you need me to be down there. This guy's done it before. And I value that kind of friendship because that's a true friendship that Jay expects nothing in return. And those are the friendships that you value, that you keep and you hold, and you just kind of throw away all these other ones because they're meaningless. They have nothing to give. They have no value whatsoever. They're paperweight, and that's all it is. And
paperweight. That's good.
And you all know that we have already enough of those in our life. So get rid of those old paperweights and rejoice with each other, man. Know that you have someone that you could turn to in times of need, or just someone you could BS with. Me and Jay still love to hang out. I'll smoke a cigar. We try to do things, we haven't been able to, work is kind of hectic at the time, but, me and Jay, we tear down some food, boy. Let me tell you. I mean, we still do that. I mean, we still turn down. We just haven't barbecued in a while, but we could turn down some food, boy.
Yeah.
We got some famous locations.
Right.
And there is a steak,
Yeah.
and there's a steakhouse that we're eyeballing. So
Yeah.
so that we're gonna take another friend of ours to with us, but that steakhouse is going down. It's gonna go down. But anyway,
So-
I think it's important, Jay, that in this world that we're living today, clearly with the division of the politics, the division of religion, the division of races, of cultures, of societies, with so much going on in this world, we need to ground ourselves with a good friendship, ground ourselves with a spiritual connection to another male friend, and get away from that BS that, oh, you guys hang out, but you guys are gay. Who cares what people say? Like, can you imagine if we put value into what people say about us?
Man, you know what was funny is when we were on that cruise. Remember when we would go into the place where the live band was playing?
Yeah.
By the second night, they would yell our names on the PA when we walked in.
Hey, J. Joe! Or like, what's up?
What's up? Yeah. So, and I don't think anybody thought anything like that. And if they did,
No,
they
not
didn't say
even when they sent us the chocolate strawberries. I don't think they thought we were gay.
chocolate covered strawberries. Yeah. So the thing is that if they did think that, they didn't care because we were cool with them and everything, you know. So you had mentioned something earlier, and I'll kind of leave us with this. So you have a person that you find that is, you know, somebody that you can relate with, whatever. Like Joe and I have, obviously we have a lot of history, but we also have our belief, you know, in God together and everything. And you have to find that person that has a core belief that you have, you know, beliefs that you have. And again, like Joe said earlier, your friends, you know, these acquaintances that you have, these people that maybe they're heavy drinkers, drugs, all this kind of stuff. These are not going to be the people that are going to be close to you, right? And again, going back to what you had said something about like, if we go hang out, you know, the wives or whatever would say, well, you guys are going to go like try to hit on girls and talk about girls. And you said, that's not what we do. And that's true. It's not what we do. You know who your guy, for the ladies out there, who your guy is, even if he's not talking about it, he's in a conversation like that. It's the random dudes at work. That's who that conversation, right? Because guys that when they first meet or have limited interaction, what's the first thing they do? They try to puff up their, you know, peacock feathers, right? And talk about the girls and all that kind of stuff, right? Joe and I, when we're together, we don't have to puff up our feathers or anything like that, right? So we talk about the dumbest stuff in the world and usually stuff for our podcast here. So yeah, definitely.
And then, of course, some of our adventures from work.
And some, yeah, well, yeah, we go way back when we talk about those adventures. We worked together many moons ago.
Which those adventures led us to Christ. So
that's right. That's right.
There's a lot of bad stuff.
Well, with that being said, everybody, I hope you had a great time. Again, get out there and vote. Today is November 5th. Everybody's voice is very important. And if you don't vote, listen, you're letting the other guy get an extra vote on you. So,
and not just MAGA, but MAHA, right? Make America healthy again.
Yeah, there you go, man. I'm super excited for that. Right. So, all right, everybody. Well, make sure you all take care of one another and be good out there. Find a good friend and be safe. Get out there and vote. And we love you.
Yeah, guys.
Take care of yourselves.
Take care of yourselves. Make sure you vote today. Today. Don't go past a day. And remember, go find that friend. And if you already have them, value that friend, man. Take care of them because you know what? There's not many of them. So you guys have a great time. Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
2. Bye.
Cheers.